Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel, and I've got 3 stories for you in this very latest Moon Lambo Hot Jam, including this one, which I'll start with from AMB Crypto. It's titled, XRP may be one of the most active chains, but here's why that's not enough. Wah, wah. Okay, so here's the deal with this one. I believe that the author here is being diligent to the best of his degree, trying to report accurately, share his opinion, all that jazz. I don't get the sense, at least I could be wrong, but I don't get the sense that there's an intent to just purely write some negative sounding stuff about XRP. But this author fundamentally misunderstands the data that he's looking at in a very key way, and I will explain what I mean by that. But he's talking about effectively there not being sufficient liquidity and volume and stuff. You'll see. And then there's this from the Daily Hodl that I found interesting. It's an article where they're talking about an interview between Bitcoin maximalist Anthony Pompliano and Coinbase founder and CEO Brian Armstrong. And I found it fascinating because, again, Anthony Pompliano, he believes that there will be one true coin to rule them all, and it's Bitcoin, and everything else, ultimately, given a sufficient amount of time, it's all going to go the way of the dodo, my favorite extinct avian creature. He thinks that he really does believe that. It just doesn't make any damn sense. Of course, it's not going to be the case because different people want different things from different cryptocurrencies, and they have different attributes, and then there are different geopolitical concerns about certain coins for this or that reason, and things are taking hold already right now, albeit slowly in terms of utility. But it doesn't make any damn sense to think that there's going to be one coin to rule them all. And then there's this story that I just found interesting. This will be the last thing I cover in this video. It's from The Sun. Crypto horror. Student forced to transfer Bitcoin now worth £68,000 excuse me, after being held at knife point, stunned after cops drop probe. Let this be like a cautionary tale, but it's an interesting yet disturbing unfolding of events. Before going further, though, I do want to be clear, I do not have a financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice, and you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related stories just for fun, just as a hobby. That's all that's going on here, damn it. And if you don't like it, well, you can just get out. So into this first one. Again, the title here from AMB Crypto. XRP may be one of the most active chains, but here's why that's not enough. XRP has struggled all year long to record a significant rally. While the asset did register a yearly high of $1.97 in April 2021, it has been a start-stop rally due to the SEC's intervention. I'm going to pause right there already and say I disagree with that. The SEC intervention that had an immediate impact on the price. Now, I'll say yes. I do think XRP price, all of its activity, it's been suppressed to some degree. I think that's reasonable to speculate upon. But the idea that things unfolding over the last 9 months have negatively, in some sort of additional way, impacted the price of XRP, I don't buy that in the least. Basically, the hit was taken, and then after that, XRP just started moving in tandem with the rest of the market, just at a suppressed level, artificially suppressed. But that's what it looks like to me. That's my humble opinion on that. And then they state the likes of Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Cardano were all able to establish new all-time highs, but not XRP. At press time, the asset was once again under its psychological $1 mark. And what's more, there seemed to be fundamental utilization discrepancies observed across its larger industry as well. And so that's the part where I've got to take issue with them. And so here's the subheading: Liquidity Index for XRP on shaky grounds, ? Which is why my inflection goes up like that. According to data retrieved from Liquidity Index Bot, some of the major Ripple on-demand liquidity corridors have significantly low liquidity indexes. The liquidity index for XRP/EUR has been in the negatives since the first week of September, whereas the XRP/AUD corridors have been negative since July 2021. And then they've got one of the corridors here. This is XRP. This is the Philippines, PHP. That's what's on your screen right there. XRP, PHP maintained positive liquidity, but the decline was evident. Oh my god, it's so negative. Should I just sell all of my XRP right now? I'm starting to feel an emotion, which is fear, which means I should probably just panic right now and get rid of all of my XRP. You guys already did it. You're ahead of me, right? I should do it. I'll wait until the video's done being recorded, but then I'm panic selling everything. Anyway, peace continues. On the contrary, the XRP/MXN corridors continue to maintain higher levels on Bitso exchange. Then they write, now these signs might suggest that XRP's blockchain usage has been somewhat diminished. However, according to Messari's active chain data, the narrative has been quite different. XRP at the time of writing was one of the top 10 most active chains in terms of on-chain data, facilitating over $822 million in adjusted transactions over the last 24 hours. XRP was only behind Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cardano, and Bitcoin Cash. And so here's the thing about this, though. They're looking at this data. They looked at these charts, these liquidity indices, and they're assuming that is all on-demand liquidity volume, and that's what it seems the way I read through. Because look, you heard it. I ran through it. That it seems to be pretty damn clear that's what they're thinking here, but that's actually not the case. That's not what is impacting the liquidity within these corridors. On-demand liquidity makes up a very small percentage of total XRP that's available for sale on exchanges, and so it's a mistake to understand. So so you might be like, okay, so why is it going down? Well, it's simple to understand. For the last few months, we've been in a bit of a consolidation mode after a massive pullback, which began on May 19th. And so what happens is price tanks. People, at least for the time being, they panic sell and then they're out of the market, at least for that point in time. And so there's fewer people at some point buying and selling XRP. And then what happens as things heat up, as attention comes back to the crypto space? More people are buying and selling, which means there's more XRP for sale and liquidity increases. Is it any surprise that during this period over the last few months that we've seen this negative price action, that there's been a reduction in liquidity in a general sense in the vast majority of these corridors? Of course, it's not surprising. And so, again, it's not the case that you can look at the volume within these corridors and assume that all of it has to do with on-demand liquidity. I mean, the honest truth of it is, not much of it has anything to do with on-demand liquidity utilizing XRP as a bridge currency, because it's fledgling technology and it's fantastic. I think that Ripple should be very proud of what they pulled off, positioning XRP as a bridge currency. I think it could be much, much, much bigger than it is today because it's solving a real problem for real people, real businesses. But it takes a while to get to the point where things really begin to snowball. And so none of this is surprising. If you know what the hell a technology bell curve is, none of this is going to be surprising in the least. It's just early days. That's all that's going on here. I mean, understand that on-demand liquidity has been on the market for less than 3 years. It's amazing that they've progressed despite all of the hurdles, all the setbacks that they've experienced along the way. So again, this is not surprising. This is not some sort of scary bad thing, which is why I was like, okay, let's have a little talk about this, because it seemed clear to me that this author just doesn't understand that fundamental piece, which is that this is like the liquidity is not because of Ripple. Like, you understand, we're talking about liquidity in those corridors, and like the assumption, the baseline assumption from this author was that the liquidity exists because of Ripple. That is not correct. So I just thought I'd correct this. This is not a scary or bad thing. The whole market moves in tandem. As Bitcoin ramps up in price, XRP will follow. Bitcoin's liquidity will increase. So will XRP's. This is not rocket science, guys. It just isn't here. All right, into the next piece now. Coinbase CEO says he owns a ton of Bitcoin, unveils outlook on rise of altcoins. The CEO of crypto trading giant Coinbase says he's holding heaps of Bitcoin and believes the future of altcoins is brighter than ever. Brian Armstrong tells venture capitalist Anthony Pompliano that Bitcoin sparked a revolution in computer science and economics, creating a brand new industry that remains in its early days. And here's a quote. Bitcoin is what got me excited about crypto in the first place. I hold a ton of Bitcoin. We already are in this world where the crypto economy is built off a number of different assets and blockchains that have different purposes, whether that's to be gold, payments, security contracts, or gaming. End quote. Armstrong says he expects gargantuan number of legitimate alternate crypto assets to emerge in the years to come. And here's another quote. My guess is that we'll eventually be in a world where there's maybe dozens of blockchains but millions or billions of tokens, and you can imagine all the kinds of things people would use those for. There's going to be so many tokens, it's going to be hard to imagine where that ends. End quote. So let me break this down. I don't know for sure why he said just dozens of blockchains. I don't look out of the cryptocurrencies that exist right now. I don't know for sure how many deserve to be around. Some of the smartest people out there think that maybe like a dozen or so deserve to exist. With the reason being simply, you don't need a new form of money for every business idea. You really sincerely do not. And so a lot of these are platforms that are very similar to one another, and we'll see which ones or one wins for each individual use case. And there could be multiple winners. There could be. We'll see what it looks like. And then there are also the scammy ones, and those will go away. The ones that are money grabs also, those will go away. But as far as what he said about millions or billions of tokens, well, I don't know what the number is going to be. I mean, I do believe that there's going to be a huge level of tokenization, but when we're talking about millions of tokens, even if that ends up being the case, I don't know for sure if it needs to be in the millions. I need to hear him out, maybe. But we're not talking about a new form of money for every single use case. We're talking about tokenization of actually, in that case, that would make sense. Because if you're talking about like a token for each individual property that's in existence, and then there's stocks, you could tokenize just about anything. And it actually can make sense because you're just talking about a new form of tracking assets that are already tracked. It's something that's more efficient. If it's on an immutable blockchain, that makes sense. And so you'll just have a much more liquid world. It'll be easier to get in and out of positions for whatever the hell it is that you own. You won't need as much paperwork, but it'll take a while to get to this world, but it's coming. And you will need to bridge it all together if you're talking about in terms of converting from one thing to another, which is why XRP is being perfectly positioned as a bridge currency, by the way. But yeah, so there's going to be tons of different tokens out there. But as far as the cryptocurrencies, the number of cryptocurrencies, I'm not convinced you're going to need some sort of crazy number of them. But yes, all sorts of things will be tokenized rather. And then anyway, piece continues. Armstrong says even though he holds Bitcoin, which he says will be around forever as the gold of the industry, Coinbase is impartial about which coins end up winning out. And here's a final quote. Coinbase has always been agnostic about which project wins and which one doesn't. We just want to serve our customers. And hey, I say fair enough. Into this last piece now. Crypto horror. Student forced to transfer Bitcoin now worth £68,000 after being held at knife point, stunned after cops drop probe. A fresher was robbed at knife point for Bitcoin now worth a whopping £68,000 his first week at university. The lad was forced to move back home after 8 thugs stormed his accommodation in Kent and demanded the security passwords to his financial apps. Now, his horrified mom has warned others to take care after the 20-minute ordeal at Canterbury Christ Church University. She said her son had been discussing cryptocurrency with a new friend on campus just 5 days after he started his course. She said, quote, "It was the first friend my son made from university, and he was from London. They were just having lads talk. The conversation turned to financial, and the friend started talking about cyber currency." End quote. Cyber currency. We don't mean cryptocurrency. Anyway, the mother alleges the other student then invited 8 school friends over from East London, and her son instantly knew he was in trouble. No one was ever charged in connection with the incident, and the student's cryptocurrency was worth £6,000 at the time of the robbery last year, but its value has leapt over the past 12 months. A further £3,000 of his grant money was also stolen. After the violent mugging, the victim phoned the police before rushing over to a security hut on the university premises. The victim's mom alleges the security guards didn't attend the scene, and she said, "He phoned the police and they didn't attend because there was something more important on that night. The only action the university took was moving him to a different accommodation. He was too traumatized, so he moved back home even though he had safer and better accommodation. And so, like, I'll say this. As far as the quantity of crypto that you own, especially as it pertains to the United States dollar or whatever your fiat currency of choice is, however much you hold, maybe just keep that to yourself. Maybe don't tell people, because it does kind of make you a target, I think. If people perceive it to be a lot, or if they think it's going to be easy to get something from you, you're just going to be a target. So I'm just saying. Anyway, Peace continues. He was terrified, emasculated, humiliated, and abused. You don't hand over nearly 10,000 pounds if you don't think you're not going to get injured. None of the money could be refunded, and the police investigation was dropped after 8 months. The victim's mother said she was frustrated with the response from the security staff at the campus and how the police handled the case. In a warning to other students, she said, the police commonly call Freshers Week Fishing Week because all the criminals come down. They know the students have got grants, laptops, and new stuff. Attacks, assaults, and muggings are quite common across the country. So that's why I just, cautionary tale. If you got to feel bad for the guy, anytime something like this happens to somebody, I feel nothing but sympathy. But that's why, as bad as this is, just kind of use it as a cautionary tale, and that's why, even at home, I don't keep any. I'm not going to talk about what I do, but I don't keep any of my stuff. I don't have access to my stuff right now. If somebody wants to do something, if you want to get access to it, you're going to have to bring other people into the situation. I'm not even going to say the specifics for my own safety here. But if somebody tries to actually mug me, they will fail, because I physically can't do it without bringing other people in, which would alert authorities. And so there's a way to do stuff like that. And that's why, for me, I've always been cautious about this stuff. I think everybody should do that, though, really. There's ways around it. Just think through it and have your own plan in place. But I'm not even into keeping ledger, hardware wallets and stuff. I don't even want to have them anywhere near me. I don't want my private keys in my home. I don't want any of that stuff around me, because you never know. You never know. And so I'm a caution freak, though. So it's you can try and steal from me, but you're going to have a bad time because you ain't getting nothing. I'm just saying that. I think everybody should probably take that approach, to be honest. But I don't know. That's just me. I'll go ahead and wrap up there, though. I am not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.